Hello friends, Worm here today to talk about Crucible spawns. Because Bungie clearly shifted something up here, and I don't know what they did, and I don't know whether to love them or hate them right now, but they definitely mess with spawns. So let's talk about it here. This is a complete surprise to us, and I know that if you've played any substantial amount of Crucible and you're familiar with the spawns, you probably have noticed that you're spawning in many cases a lot closer to objectives. Like I play obviously a lot of Control, but it feels like players are spawning closer to objectives. You know, I think it was on Rusted Lands, I believe it was Rusted Lands, and it was spawning me in just odd locations. You know, it was, you know, normally if you have a spawn, right, you spawn back under / behind that building. Well, it kept spawning me in the room with the A flag, right? And it was weird. And it took me like kind of off guard because of course Bungie never mentioned that they were changing spawns in any way, shape, or form in their patch notes or in their updates or anything like that. So I don't know if this is maybe just a test run. Maybe I just got insanely lucky with the spawns back, you know, in my games, and you know there just happened to be enemies in our main spawns, so we had to use secondary or tertiary spawns. I don't think that's the case though, because I mean it was happening every single game. I would get odd, different, better, maybe worse spawns. And so, yeah, I think it's interesting that Bungie's decided to just shift these, you know, shift the spawns up on us, you know, without even telling anybody. But is it for better or is it for worse? And the truth is, I don't know the answer to that right now. And that kind of sounds weird, I'm sure. Because I noticed the first time I spawned in an odd location, it was definitely a good thing. You know, it spawned me, instead of being all the way back on A, it was actually playing on, I think it was Disjunction. Instead of spawning me all the way back, you know, at our home flag or wherever it was, it put us like very close to B. And at first I was like, this is weird because it's a place I'd never spawned. You know, it was a place I had never spawned before. You know, typically if you spawn really close to the B flag, or like basically like, you know, on the B flag in that kind of little that little rut that goes around it on Disjunction. Or of course you spawn way back in your spawn, you know, behind your home flag, or, you know, maybe behind the enemy's home flag, depending on how much they push you. But yeah, it spawned me in just an odd location I've never spawned in before. And it kept doing that. You know, and I was like, okay, like maybe they tweaked the spawns on this map, because of course that's one of the, I guess, the main complaints that we have about Disjunction is the spawns, like the distance that you have to run to like get out of spawn is ridiculous. Like you had to run for was like 15-20 seconds before you can even see combat. So at first I thought it was just that map, but then we started playing on some other maps. You know, we played on what is it, one of the Nessus ones, the big one, Distant Shore. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. We were playing on Distant Shore, and again, I was spawning in just some odd locations, but it was definitely for the better. Like I was spawning closer to the B flag, which is always a big pro. You know, the closer you spawn to B flag, the quicker and more likely you are to see combat. And it really felt good to have these new spawns, and I was really praising Bungie for it. However, there were a couple times when I got kind of shafted by a spawn. Okay, and one of the biggest examples I can think of was on Rusted Lands. When you spawn on the A flag in that little room, you know, there's the hole in the wall, there's the staircase that goes up into that room, and that, you know, the orientation. I'm kind of looking at the hole in the wall, right, and the staircase is like on the wall that's behind me. Well, there's the opening to the right and the one to the left. The left kind of leads out, goes to the B flag. The one to the right leads down a little stairs, and you can kind of go into the, I guess, mid-map area. And it spawned me right in front of this doorway. Literally, I spawned into gunfire. Like I spawned, and I was getting shot before I could even do anything. Now, fortunately, of course, Bungie has tweaked the shields a couple seasons ago, or maybe it was last season. I can't really remember. But they tweaked the shields so that shields are better. I guess spawn shields are better. You don't get like just destroyed when you spawn in, which is fantastic. Really, really good. But it was just an odd spawn. And there was a couple of other times. When I say a couple, I mean, you know, it was more good spawns than bad, but there were a couple of other spawns where I'm like, why did it spawn me here? Like it was weird. It was like a funky location, you know, like I spawned I'm trying to think of a funky location I spawned in. I can't remember any off the top of my head outside of the one on distant, or not distant, on Rested Lands there. But they spawn you in funky locations, and they're not necessarily bad, but they're just awkward because it's like, okay, like I'm kind of between, you know, A flag and C flag, and there's nothing really going on. It's going to take me a minute to get to any kind of combat, you know, and it was just odd, you know, just odd stuff. So I was just taking note of it. And like I said, the odd spawns only happened like probably once every 3 or 4 games. Like it wasn't like every game I just get a weird spawn out of nowhere. But yeah, of course, I think it's good that Bungie is shifting the spawns. I think that the quicker you can get to action, the better. But I think there does need to be a balance. Of course, you know, we don't need to be in a situation where we are in combat, like when we spawn, you know, like on Rested Lands, like I spawned while getting shot. And I actually think I saved my teammate because the dude that was shooting him was shooting him with Immortal. And I assume it was probably a target lock roll. And so when I spawned, it blocked his line of sight, and it shifted back to me, and I was able to use my thruster to get out of the way, and we ended up killing him. But I don't know, like I think that overall it's a good thing. You know, I would rather get killed on an odd spawn every now and then and deal with much better spawns, like on Disjunction, you know, spawning closer to action, closer to mid-map, than deal with the current spawn system that we have on Disjunction. On other maps, I don't really know, like there's probably some type of placebo here, but like I want to say that like, oh, the new spawns are better. Are they, like, factually? No, probably not. But it's always nice when Bungie changes things up, and spawns are one of those things. Like it's just like a quality of life feels good change, right? Like it just feels good to spawn in a new spot. It's like, hey, I've never spawned here, you know, and you're like, okay, like this is kind of nice to spawn close to the B flag, so I can, you know, run up to the B flag and cap it. Or, you know, hey, I didn't spawn so far back, or just a different location in general. Hey, it's the same distance from B, but hey, you know what? It's a new spawn and I like it. It shows me that Bungie is still putting effort into the Crucible, even though it doesn't feel like it. You know, and we've talked about that plenty, that, you know, it feels like Bungie they don't put effort into the Crucible. But I think that it's good that Bungie has changed these spawns. Some of the issues, of course, with these spawns, if we are prominently spawning, like I said, for example, on Rested Lands, spawning right into enemy gunfire, or if we are spawning in locations where enemies have easy lines of sight, because that was one thing. I wasn't sniping yesterday, but I did notice enemies would spawn in a like perfect line of sight. Like if I had a sniper, it would have been literally a free kill. And it wasn't just like 1 or 2 times, like, you know, or wasn't 1 or 2 times every couple games. Like it was like at least once a game, there would be an awkward spawn where it's like, if I had a sniper, I could have just killed that guy instantly, you know? And so I think that they just need to, you know, take player feedback. Of course, I'm giving my feedback on it. I think it's overall a good thing, but I think everybody else needs to leave their feedback on it so that Bungie can adjust the spawns. Hey, you know what? You're right. This spawn on, you know, Rested Lands, for example, you're in direct line of sight of enemies, so we're going to tweak it so that you spawn just literally like 2 meters back would put you out of the doorway and out of like the line of sight of the window, unless somebody's in that room. And if somebody's in that room, you know, by the time you spawn your shield's gone, I feel like you have at least a chance to fight back. But not in that doorway, because, you know, in that doorway, you could be sniped from that doorway. If somebody was sitting on the little water tank out there, which I know maybe if you are not familiar with Rested Lands, you're probably like, that is all jargon. I'm sorry. But, you know, I think that overall it's a good thing. I think that the new spawns, I like the new spawn system. Like it feels entertaining. It feels nice just to have a shift, you know, in the whole spawn system. I really don't have many complaints, you know. In fact, I don't have any complaints, hard complaints. I would say a recommendation, like I said, to Bungie, is just tweak them so that you're a little bit less likely to spawn right into combat. And I know it's inevitable that at some point you're going to spawn right in front of somebody and you're going to get killed, or you're going to get super right as you spawn. Like that's how people get 7th columns. Like I'm okay with all that. But when I'm seeing instances multiple times a game, you know, 3, 4, you know, I don't even know, like 5 times a game, of, hey, if I had an X weapon, I could have easily got that guy. It does make me wonder, hey, like maybe they just need a little bit of tweaking, but I don't know. I want to know though, of course, what are your guys' thoughts on it? Have y'all experienced the new spawn system? I know that we're still new into the season. Lots of people are engaged in PvE content right now, especially, you know, new dungeon came out today and stuff. But I want to know your thoughts if you play PvP. Like, have you noticed the new spawns? Do you like the new spawns? Do you hate the new spawns? Like, I want to hear your feedback on it. And have you died instantly after spawn more frequently, I guess? Or have you been, maybe not die, but or have you ever been in combat much more frequently, like as you're spawning in, not right after? Because here's the thing, like, I'm okay if I spawn in and then immediately walk around the corner into an engagement. I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not okay with as I spawn I'm already getting shot before I can even have a chance to react. Like, that's stuff that happens in trials when you're getting revived and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, let me know your thoughts about the new spawns in the comments below. Of course, if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like. It really does help out the channel a lot. And do me a favor, subscribe for more daily Destiny content, including conversations like this that we have. And yeah, that's it for me. Oh, by the way, make sure to watch the video you see on the end screen now, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like it. That's it for me. Oh, by the way, we did win this game. I'm cutting it off a little tiny bit short, but yeah, we won this game 5-4. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Watch the video you see right now. Bye.